Hi students, we are discussing about the stereochemistry. Today we are going to discuss about the lecture 19 of this stereochemistry, which is the module 3. This is the course objectives of our course. The name of the subject is chemistry. The subject code is CH101 or 201. The credit is 3 and contact hour is 35. So, the concept developed in this course will aid in quantification of several concepts in chemistry that you have been introduced at the 10+2 levels in school. Technology is being increasingly based on the electronic, based on atomic and molecular level modification. These are the some of the course outcome that we have for our course. That is, you can describe the fundamental properties of atom and molecules and the atomic structure and the periodicity of the elements in the periodic table. Also, you can apply the fundamental concepts of the thermodynamics in different energy applications. You can apply the knowledge of your water quality parameters, the corrosion control and also polymers to different industries. You can determine the structure of organic molecules using different spectroscopic method, and also you can evaluate the theoretical and practical aspects of the regarding the some of the products that you can synthesize in the lab and also in the at the industrial scale. So these are the some of the course outcome that we have for our course. This is the lecture plan and this is the today's objective, that is today we are going to discuss about the stereoisomerism. What do you mean by stereoisomerism? What are the types of stereoisomers we have? What are the examples? And also we will discuss each and every discuss the definition of each and every isomers. Okay, so this is all about the stereoisomerism, and there we also define the enantiomers and the diastereomers also. Yeah, so this is the recapitulation. As this is this concept today, whatever we will discuss, the topic, that for that you should remember the previous topics. You should remember the previous concept what we have discussed in our previous class. So we have discussed just at a glance. I am repeating again. That is the optical activity we have discussed. We have discussed isomerism and also structural isomerism we have discussed. Okay, now optical activity. For to know the optical activity, first you should know what is chirality of the compound. Okay, so chirality means while the carbon atom will be attached with the 4 different atoms. Okay, 4 different atoms, and if we have a mirror image here, so that mirror image cannot be superimposable to each other, so that is called by chiral compound. Okay, a good example of the chiral compound is our hand. Okay, now optical activity. Optical activity, generally the chiral compounds, the which can rotate the plane polarized light, that compounds are called by the optically active compounds. Okay, now what is plane polarized light? Actually, in a plane polarized light we have a light source, a polarizing lens, we have a we must have a sample tube for which sample we are detecting that our sample is optically active or not, and also the analyzing lens. Yeah, so this is the construction of the optical polarimeter. This is actually called by the polarimeter, by which we can determine that our compound is optically active or not. Okay, so actually what will happen, from this source the light will go through this this is a sample tube. Here we are taking one sample. Okay, now if this is the pathway of the light, Now if the light will deviate from its pathway, that is, it can rotate, clockwise, or it can rotate the anti-clockwise. So if the sample having the capability to rotate the plane polarized light, that is called by the optically active compound. So the plane polarized light can rotate clockwise or can rotate anti-clockwise. Okay, now we will discuss about the isomers. Okay, so generally we are having two types of isomer. One is constitutional, one is stereoisomer. Now constitutional, this is the classification of the isomers, that is, isomers are of two type, one is constitutional, one is stereoisomers. Again the stereoisomers are of two type, one is conformational and one is configurational. Again this configurational isomers can be two type, one is optical isomers and one is geometrical isomer. Optical isomer means the enantiomers and diastereomers, and geometrical isomers means cis trans isomers. Okay, so all this we will discuss in detail. Yeah, this is the actually this is the constitutional isomers which have different IUPAC name, same or different functional groups. We can have different physical properties and chemical properties will be different. Actually what will happen, the chemical formula, that means number of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen will be the same, but the functional group can be different. Like the sample is alcohol and other sample we have the ether. Okay, so the hydroxyl group, one functional group we have, that is hydroxyl group, one functional group we have, that is the ether linkage. Okay, so but the chemical formula is the same, so that time that molecules are called by the constitutional isomer. So these are the some of the types of constitutional isomer that we have seen in our previous class. This is the chain isomers, while the skeleton, the carbon skeleton, this is the chain carbon skeleton will be different. Okay, but the same chemical formula will be same. Now metamers actually what will happen, while we have the nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur atoms in our chain, and that chain will be different from like here you can see this is diethyl ether. Here you can see the methyl group is one side and another group we have the propyl ether. Here we have one side we have the methyl, other side we have the isopropyl ether. So these are the some of the isomers that is different from is different from the position arrangement. Okay, so this is called metamers. Now positional isomer means sometimes the hydroxyl group at the end of the group, at the end of the molecule, or sometimes hydroxyl group at the middle of the molecule. Okay, so this is called positional isomers. Now functional isomers, actually what I have told earlier, that is the functional isomer. If we have the alcohol and ether linkage, but the chemical formula is the same, the number of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen is the same, for that case that molecules are called by the functional groups, functional isomers. Okay, now next the last one we have, that is the tautomerism. Actually what will happen, this is the hydrogen cyanide. Okay, in a solution the hydrogen cyanide will be reversible, like this bond will break. Okay, sorry, yeah. What will happen, actually this, if I draw like this way, then it will be easier for you to abstract. Now what will happen, nitrogen will abstract this hydrogen with this bond, right, and then the hydrogen will leave the bond. So we have the carbanion, and here this is the isocyanide ion will be produced, and here enol form we have, and that enol by the electronic delocalization it can form also the keto form. So these are the some of the tautomerism for their stability, the electron will be delocalized over the molecules, and thus they are forming the tautomerisms or tautomerisms. Yes. Okay, next is stereoisomers. So stereoisomers have the same functional groups, same atoms, but their different arrangement of the atoms will be different. The spatial arrangement will be different, differ only in the way the atoms are oriented in space, have identical IUPAC name, okay, different in configuration, and always have the same functional groups. So these are the some of the properties of the stereoisomers. Now stereoisomers are of generally three types. One is conformational isomers, one is optical isomer, and configurational isomers. Actually stereoisomers are of this also we can say that stereoisomers are of two type. One is conformational, one is optical isomer, one is configurational isomer. Okay, now this configurational isomer again of two type, one is optical isomer, one is geometrical isomer. That these subdivisions also we can do. Okay. Okay, now what is conformational isomers? Conformational isomers generally have different spatial orientation of atoms in a molecule that result from the rotation about the single bond, ring flipping conformation, like cycloalkanes. The resulting arrangement referred to the eclipse or staggered conformation. Rotation occur only in alkane, not occur in alkene or alkyne. Okay, only the single bond rotation. These type of isomers are forming only by the single bond, not the double bond. If we have the double bond, or if we have the triple bond in our moiety, so that time we don't have this type of isomers. Only the single bond rotation, by the single bond rotation we can have the isomers. Yeah, so conformational isomers are different spatial, having the different spatial arrangement of a molecule that are generated by the rotation about the single bond. This is look here, if this carbon, there are two carbon, 1 and 2, right? So if one is constant, and if two, you are just rotating the this C2 carbon, what will happen? At some time this red ball will be, red atom will be at the upper side. At some time it will transfer here, at some time it will transfer here. Okay, so these are the some of the positions while the C2 carbon is rotating. That time these are the three atoms are also rotating. So this type of Newman projections we can find out. We have eclipse conformation, we have staggered conformation, we have Gauss conformation. Among them, the staggered conformation is the most stable one, as the bulkier groups will be at the far away. Okay, so far away, so that is the conformational isomers. Okay, now optical isomers. Optical isomers, that means generally what will happen, these type of isomers can rotate the plane polarized light. Okay, so this is the plane polarized polarimeter. One light source we have, this is the normal light, one polarizer we have, and this is the sample tube we have, where after that we have the analyzing analyzer, or okay. So by this, if the from the light source, whatever plane polarized light we are getting, with the help of this solvent sample, what will happen, if the light will be deviated from its pathway, if the light will be rotated from the clockwise rotation, or it can rotate in the anti-clockwise rotation. Okay, so plane polarized light through chiral compound, what will happen, it will, you can see the rotation will take place. Yeah, and for the achiral carbon, if we have the achiral carbon means they are not having the 4 different atoms, and also they are superimposable in their superimposable in their mirror images. What will happen if from this light source the light will pass through the sample tube? What will happen? No deviation we can see. So this is the achiral carbon. Yeah, so if the light will be rotated by the molecule clockwise, so that is called by dextrorotatory, and we are also by old previously we denoted by the D, and now we are denoting by the positive plus sign. Okay, now levorotatory means while the rotation of the plane polarized light will be the anti-clockwise, counterclock mean anti-clockwise. So that time in our older version we have indicated that as a L, or nowadays we indicate them by the negative term. Okay, so this is levorotatory, right? So these are the some of the types of optical activity that we can see. Now stereoisomers, the optical isomers are of two types. One is enantiomer, one is diastereomer. Okay. Enantiomers, and another one is diastereomers. Now we will see what are the enantiomers. Enantiomers, stereoisomer compounds with the same connectivity, different arrangement, and the non-superimposable mirror images are called by the enantiomer. Okay. So, enantiomers having the lack of plane of symmetry, non-superimposable on its mirror image, as I told you, have some physical and chemical properties, rotate the plane polarized light by exactly the same number of degrees but in opposite direction. Okay, so that means if we have if we are just using the enantiomer into the plane polarized light, or if the plane polarized light is passing through the enantiomer, what will happen? That light will be rotated either clockwise or anti-clockwise, but it can rotate. Okay, so enantiomers are capable to rotate the plane polarized light. Okay, so they are all the optically active compound. Now you can see I have shown here some of the examples. 2-chlorobutane, this is 2-chlorobutane, right? If we are having a mirror, so CH2 ethyl group will come here, the methyl group here, the at the top side, then hydrogen will come here, and chloride atom will become here. So now you can see this is number 1 molecule, number 2 molecule. Number 1 and number 2 cannot be superimposable, as because if it is if we want to impose with each other, what will happen? The CH2, the ethyl group will come here, right? The chloride group will come here. So this is the actual condition. Look here, the ethyl group and chloride group, and here also one ethyl group, one chloride group. That means the mirror images are not superimposable. So this is called by the, this is absolutely a perfect example of enantiomers. Now properties of enantiomers. What are the properties that enantiomers are having? Their rotation towards the plane polarized light are opposite and equal, and enantiomers will thus rotate the plane polarized light either clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. The clockwise rotation is usually denoted by the either of the prefix or dextro or positive. Similarly, anti-clockwise rotation is levo or negative. Generally, the previous in the older version, in the previously we small d we are using as a small d for the clockwise rotation, and we have used small l for the anti-clockwise, but nowadays we are using the positive and negative sign. The absorption coefficient of light for the two isomers will be different. The mass spectra and NMR are both isomers are equal. So these are the some of the properties that we have for the enantiomers. Okay, so these are the some of the examples of enantiomers. Like here we have the molecule, and if we place the mirror here in front of this molecule, so what will happen? Look here, this bulkier group will come here, right? And OH, this OH group will come here, and this is the top OH. At the same position this OH will remain. Now this hydrogen will come here, and hydroxyl group, another hydroxyl group here will be here. Now if we want to superimpose this structure number 1, okay, structure number 1, and this is structure number 2. So what will happen? If we want to superimpose these two structures, that what will happen? They are not superimposable, because you can see if it is come here, that means the bulkier group will be here, but actually in the mirror image it will be at the left hand side. So it is not at all the superimposable the mirror images. So that is why it is called the enantiomers. Here also L-DOPA, and this is the S-DOPA, R-L-DOPA or S-L-DOPA. Now what will happen if we see again the mirror images of this molecule? Then the bulkier, the COH group come here, right? Okay, the NH2 group come here, and hydrogen will be here, and the phenyl group will be here. Now what will happen if we want to superimpose this? Then all this group will go at the right hand side, and only two hydroxyl group will be here, which is not superimposed at all. So these are the some of the examples of enantiomers. Okay, again this is the chlorocyclohexane, carbon, next we have ketamine. So these are the some of the examples where we can see that the mirror images are not superimposable, and that is why they are belongs to the category that is enantiomers. They are called by the enantiomers. Okay, next we will discuss about the racemic mixture. Racemic mixture means if we are having a reaction, and after the reaction is the product, whatever product is forming, that is 50% of the one enantiomer and 50% of the other enantiomer. That means 50% of the molecule is producing, that is rotates the plane polarized light clockwise, and 50% of the product we have due to the reaction which rotate the plane polarized light anti-clockwise. So this is called racemic mixture. This 50-50% are called racemic mixture. The mixture containing equal amounts of two enantiomers. It is optically inactive due to the, yes, this mixture is optically inactive. Why? Because we have both 50% of this molecule, 50% of this molecule. So both we have in the solution. That is why the optical activity is 0. Sample that is optically inactive can be either an achiral substance or the racemic mixture. Racemic mixtures are designated using this example. Okay, so this is 2-butanol, right? So after the mirror image, this is the mirror, and this is the mirror image of the 2-butanol, you can see. So this 50% will be produced, which is optically active. Okay, because in this solution we are having both materials. Now we will discuss about the diastereomers. Actually, diastereomers are are defined as the molecules that is that is having no relations at all. They may be mirror images, they may be they may not be mirror images, they can be they may superimposable or super non imposable, they may be chirally optically active compound or optically the inactive compound. Okay, so diastereomers are stereoisomers. Those are not mirror images and have different physical and chemical properties. They are two or more organic compounds. They are having two or more organic compounds that have at least two stereo center. Stereo center means chiral center. Okay, where the carbon atoms are bonded with four different atoms, that is called by chiral center or stereo centers. Okay, with different at least two stereo centers with different configurations at some of the stereo centers, but the same configuration at others. These configurations are not the mirror images of one another. Now this is the examples of the diastereomers. Like we have 2 amino 3 hydroxy butanoic acid, 2 amino, this is 2 amino, you can see 2 amino 3 hydroxy 3 hydroxy. If this carbon is 2, then 2 amino and this is 3, that means 2 and 3. So 3 hydroxy butanoic acid, 1 2 3 4, we have 4 carbon atoms, that is why it's called butanoic acid. Okay, now if we take a mirror image, if we place a mirror, so this will be the mirror image of the diastereomers. Okay. Now you can see at the top position COH will be there. Okay, and hydrogen groups will be, hydrogen and amine groups will be like this, and they are non mirror images. Okay, so they are called by the, they are not at all the mirror images, because NH2 group here, we should have the NH2 group here after the reflection, right? But they are not having the mirror images, so that is called by the diastereomers. Okay, you can see. So NH2, if we have NH2 group here, so here also we should have the NH2 group, right, at this side. If we have the hydrogen at this side, so here we have the hydrogen side. Okay, so but that is not the molecule, not the mirror image of this. So this is called, these are the called diastereomers. Next, these are again the some of the examples where we can see some diastereomers and the enantiomers also. So you can see these D erythros or L erythros, they are both the enantiomers, both the non superimposable mirror images. Okay, yeah, so both are having this is the mirror, and both are the mirror images but non superimposable. Now here also these both are D trios and L trios. First molecule we have, that is erythros, and this is the trios, D trios and L trios. Now these are also the enantiomers, as these are the mirror images. Now what will happen, now this D erythros and this D trios, they are not, if we are placing a mirror here, they are, you can see they are not at all the mirror images, so they are called by the diastereomers. Again the same, if we have here a mirror. Okay, now if you see that mirror, this is trios, L trios is not at all the mirror images of the L erythros, so that is why these two are the pair of the diastereomers. Okay, these are the some of the examples of diastereomers. So D erythros and D trios. the L erythros and L trios, they are the pair of the diastereomers. Yeah, again here the 1R 2S and 5R methanol. These are also the two diastereomers that we have. Okay, now what are the differences? That is very important question. Okay, from this portion you can have this type of question ki differentiate between enantiomers or diastereomers. Okay, how can you define, how can you differentiate by the enantiomers, differentiate the enantiomers and diastereomers? Now enantiomers are non-superimposable mirror images, we all know, but the diastereomers, the stereoisomers, that are not the enantiomers, that means the stereoisomers which are not actually at all having some the property, similar properties, like they are not mirror image at all. Okay, all are chiral, they may be chiral or may not be, as I told you, have identical physical properties, boiling point, melting point, except the direction of rotation of plane polarized light. Okay, enantiomers, what enantiomers, the properties are the same, but the only the difference is one enantiomer can rotate the plane polarized light clockwise and one enantiomer can rotate the plane polarized light anti-clockwise. Only this is the difference. But for the diastereomers, they are having the different physical properties. Okay, now chemical properties are the same towards the chemical chiral reagents and the solvents. Chemical property also different for this case. So for the diastereomers, the physical and chemical both are different. Okay, and also diastereomers can be maybe chiral or achiral. So these are the some of the, again some of the examples of the stereoisomers, like enantiomers and diastereomers. So from this portion you can you may be asked that give one example of diastereomer, give one example of enantiomer. So how much we have you have understood? For that I have given one question, that is give one example of diastereomers. Just now I am telling about this question, so your time starts now. Yeah, your 10-second time is over now. Yes, and actually you are right, the answer is diastereomers, like D erythros and D trios, L erythros and L trios, they are both the pair of the diastereomers. Okay, so this is the recapitulation. So stereoisomerism we have discussed, yes, enantiomers we have discussed, check, and also diastereomers we have discussed. So next day we will discuss about the configurational isomers or geometrical isomers. Okay, so please follow the classes regularly, students, and do the assignment in time. So thank you, students, and see you in the next class.